Well, hey, Facebook, we are live. It's Thursday night, and we are thrilled to pieces to have this opportunity to share this amazing message that Dr. Michael Gross is going to be sharing with us tonight. So, welcome. Thank you for coming. And, Michael, would you like to say something to the folks who are going to be checking in at any minute now?
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have some exciting information to share with all of you. I appreciate all of you that are here and all of you that'll watch this later. Thank you. I'm Dr. Michael Gross. It's a pleasure to be here. So, thank you. To you, you'll want to do the intro. By now,
Absolutely.
you're kind of used to our intro, but just
Well,
he's just.
you would think I would have this thing memorized, but I don't because I want to make sure that I don't miss any golden nugget. Okay. So I always read this part, and it's the only part we script because I want to make sure that everybody realizes the caliber and integrity of Dr. Michael Gross. So here we
Thank
go. Okay. You're
you. Yes.
welcome. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the True Source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. Michael remains humble, knowing that all the work that he does comes from God, the True Source. He lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has just launched his nonprofit. So, why don't you tell the people a little bit about your nonprofit before you go into the message and then just move right through it into the message, okay?
All righty. Well, as we call it, TISE, TIISE, the International Institute of Self Empowerment. And it's all about a nonprofit, a 501c3, and it's going to have 12 arms. And the first arm has to do with abused women, children, and men. And I've learned so much from TU about that based on her book, Healing the Holes in Your Soul. And I asked her to be director of that division. So we are now in a fundraising period. We finally got our website set up and we'll be expanding more and more. So we're always open to any kind of donations, and T will put some of that information in the chat box. So thank you, everyone. So I thought this evening we talk about something that I thought was very, very important, and that is your thoughts. We've talked about this before in different ways, but sometimes you have to present them things in a way that it kind of registers or a bell goes off. And as the true source said to me, what you think what you create, you experience. And it's awfully interesting to know that if you look at the roadmap of your life, whatever you thought about, you created that roadmap in your life. And we're not really aware of it. Or we think about it at this time, then a day goes by and we forget about it. And then it comes back in our mind again. Then we forget about it. Then we wonder, well, how did we get to this point in our life? So every moment of your life you are creating. You're creating everything in your life. And, as the true source says, the past predicts the present predicts the future. So, how does that affect you? I mean, where are our thoughts going? Well, it's a very natural process for us. For example, you immediately, your mind goes back to that when you had one, you say yay or nay. So you always compare. But interesting, once you have that thought, it goes into the past by milliseconds. So let's go back to the thought. How about a hot fudge ice cream cone? I know it should be a Sunday. And immediately go back to that. But that thought now is in the past. What happens when you're thinking, well, I want to get to work early tomorrow morning? You automatically took that future and brought it into the present. Pretty fascinating. You never thought about it that way. Everything you're thinking, even if you're thinking about, I used to ski and I broke my leg and I was unhappy, you bring it into the present. Which means when you go skiing, you could break your leg again, or maybe not. So, what does it mean about your thoughts? Your thoughts are energy, just like you are energy. And like a magnet, you're attracting your thoughts. And we have to be reminded of this over and over and over again because sometimes we forget. Sometimes we're angry. Therefore, the most important thing for each one of us to do with our thoughts is to forgive ourselves and not to live in the past of anger, frustration, and sadness. Have you ever made mistakes in your life? Yep, I have too. Did you learn something from it? Ah, you have. And sometimes you may repeat the mistakes till you finally get it right. Other times you're going to think about that mistake and not do it again. But every time you are thinking about something, you are setting up a direction in your life, which I call a roadmap, whatever you want to call it, makes no difference. So this is all about thinking about your thoughts. Of course, when you're thinking, there are thoughts. And now you have a decision. Do you go this way? Do you go that way? You go up? You go down? Do I dismiss it? What do I do? And more importantly, why are these thoughts coming up at this time? What is that memory when I was 7 years old, when I got mad or somebody hurt me or I skinned my knee or my mother or father spanked me or I fell? I mean, why is that coming up now? You're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old or older. And there's a reason for everything. It's because you're hanging on to that thought in the past that is forming a wall that is preventing you from moving forward because you're living in the fear of the past. Even though you're 3 or 4 or 6 years old or a little bit older, you're living in that fear. And what are you doing? That fear that was in the past now becomes the present. Put enough energy into it, it becomes the future, and the fear reoccurs, 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 reoccurs. Well, don't you get tired of it? I don't know about you, but I do. Therefore, in facing your fears, the simple answer is, what did I learn from my fear? Why is it handicapping me? Why is it creating a block in my beautiful life? Because it is a beautiful life. Once you understand that fear no longer exists. And what your soul is doing is, hey, you haven't got it right. We're going to bring it up again. Oh, still haven't got it? We'll bring it up again. Still haven't got it? We'll bring it up. Don't you get it? And finally, when you face that fear, you go, hey, that's not too bad. Why did I avoid it for all this time? Because the thought of the fear, you turned into a Mount Kilimanjaro instead of a tiny little anthole or anthill. Tiny, tiny, tiny. But in your mind, it expanded, 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 expanded all the way out. And now you're given the golden opportunity to take that thought, understand the lesson learned, and move forward. How do you move forward? Just merely say, I learned from it. I understand. Boy, that's really complex, isn't it? I learned from it. I understand. But the most important thing is you have to feel it deep within your heart, deep within your body. I learned it. I understand. Say it vehemently with a lot of expression and mean it. Then whoop, disappears, no longer in your life. And that memory, that thought will begin to dissipate into nothingness. And you'll just go, I don't remember. Or perhaps someone will say, remember, let's say you're 40 years old. You remember when you broke your ankle when you were 5? I remember, but I don't remember. I don't feel any pain. I broke my ankle. Okay, let's go out and go shopping or play tennis. So the memory has no energy to it, and that memory will dissipate. Therefore, you're wondering, why do these thoughts come up? Because these thoughts are roadblocks to you living the life you so desire. Let's talk about the thought of your life you so desire. Really important. There are two thoughts: ego, 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 lots of money, success, people worship me, looking after me. Hey, you're wonderful. And then there's the other part, soul going, no, 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 no. What brings you joy and happiness? What brings you joy and happiness long term, not short term? Little needle, feel good. Then 10 minutes later, you need another needle, another fix, another fix, another fix, because that's not what your soul desires. That's not what your purpose is. Look at your thoughts. Look at everything you've accomplished. As I mentioned before, I was with a group and they said, well, how do you manifest? And I laughed and said, take a look at your life. You manifested your life with your thoughts, all the positive, all the challenges. Notice you try not to use the word negative, because a challenge is not a negative. It's just an opportunity to overcome something in your life to empower you. Once in a while, I admit I will slip up and say it's a negative, but then I catch myself and I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cancel, cancel, cancel. I mean, why would I say that? Because it stops the thought of the left and right brain, goes to the amygdala, and then you change it with a new positive thought. Why do I do that? Why do I have to say that? Because there's no such thing as a vacuum in the universe. When you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cancel, cancel, cancel. Cancel what? You got to replace it with something. There's a hole there. You got to fill it with something. And if you don't fill it with something, the original thought comes back. And the analogy which I've used before is very simple. You go to a pond, let's supposing, and throw a pebble in the pond. And you see these beautiful little concentric circles and ripples, comes right to the shore where you're standing, or to the edge. And watch it. You'll see it go under the water back to its original spot. That's what happens if you don't change that thought. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cancel, cancel, cancel. I'm joyous, I'm happy, everything is complete in my life, whatever. So let's think about this a little bit more. More thoughts. What if you woke up in the morning and before you did whatever your morning routine is, and you said something, I desire to program my day. Well, what do you desire, Michael? I desire to be joyous and happy, everything be in synchronicity. I have a lot of energy. People are cooperative, get lots of work done. Whatever you so desire. See, you're the boss. It's like you're creating that minute, that moment on a blank canvas. You're painting or creating what your reality for that day is. So how many of you really do that? Now, I've taught that for many years, and sometimes we forget to do it. Yours truly. But I'm reminding everybody, because your thoughts are things. You've heard that cliche, thoughts are things. Of course they are, because your thought is magnetic, like I said before. And now it's coming into your life. Wow. So now you have the realization. You mean I'm responsible for my life? Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. You are responsible. You're no longer a victim. Oh, I'm a victim. No, you're not a victim. You know why you're not a victim? Because you created victimhood. Nobody else did. And most importantly, all of us, or some of us, go around looking for an opinion when you want to make your decision. What do they know about your life? Zero. So they're giving their opinion like they're an expert. Well, they're an expert in their life, but not in your life. Now, if you go to someone that's going to mentor you and you're coming up with a new project or what, you might say, I'd like your opinion how to present this. And you go to 3 or 4 people. But the bottom line is, it's your decision. And I know Tia is chomping at the gate, so she wants to share something. Go ahead.
Well, I think the one thing, you have so many valuable golden nuggets. You really, truly do. And I am honored to be working with you on the nonprofit, as well as just being one of your students, because it is, your mindset really, truly does matter. And when we walk in thinking that we have no self-worth, self-love, self-esteem, which you talk about, then we walk in and it's like, I used to be the one that would walk in kind of slouch, hang against the wallpaper and look down. I wouldn't make eye contact. And Who wants to talk to you when you're already blending into the wall? They probably won't even see you. And that's not the way we should be living, right? I mean,
Correct.
we have that choice each and every moment to change it. Just like taking that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 negative thought and putting something positive in the universe. So, what is one of the biggest tips that you can share with everybody that's here to help us when we get caught up in our own, crazy mindset, because we've all been beaten down in different, if you want to get so many different opinions. What is the one thing that you can give us other than the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to recognize that difference?
Well, that's perfect. I'm going to illustrate something then to come to the point. It's a very good friend of mine. I helped raise her son in his teenage years, and we kind of got a little separated because of the COVID. And we were out to dinner, and we got together, and I happened to mention something, and he said, "Well, I got to research that." I mentioned something else. I got to research that, and it's like, okay, but why do you have to research anything? Well, of course, you want to be sure it's right. And I wasn't told him you do the XYZ. I mentioned it's something that's gone on in Holland, where the farmers were on strike, and because the government wanted them cut back on their farming techniques. And I said, you know what they did? The government wouldn't change it. So they got together, listened to their thoughts, and they thought about it. Well, the government's not going to, listen to us. They're cutting back on our livelihood. What do we do? And they thought about it. Well, how do you change the law? Well, you elect the people that can change the law. Kind of critical thinking. It's natural, right? It's a no brainer. You don't sit there and say, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You take action. And what they did is form the Farmers Party, and they elected their own people and got the law changed. Peaceful, nobody got hurt, probably a lot of egos with the politicians. And he said, well, I have to research all that. And I'm thinking, why would I tell you a baloney story if it weren't true? But then I looked at his life. He's got a heart of gold. I would trust him with $10 million in his pocket of my own money. But he's afraid to move forward, always living in doubt, which he keeps recreating because I got to check into this, got to check into this, I got to check into this. It's really amazing. So I use that as kind of a metaphor for all of us to say certain things feel right. Now, if I said to you, let's go build a shed, you go, well, I think I'm going to go online or learn how to build a shed. That to me makes sense because you don't know everything. So you want to learn something. There's a difference. You want to learn something that you desire to do. So if I wanted to build a shed, there's two things. One, I would go online to learn how to do it, or stop at Lowe's or Home Depot, and ask some suggestions, or somebody that's built a shed and ask for some suggestions. And then I would begin to build the shed. Maybe I'll make a mistake, maybe I won't, but I'll learn something from it. The point I'm trying to say is you gather what information you can. That's one side, you're going to build a shed. But let's listen to the other side. You innately, means automatically, knows exactly what feels right and doesn't feel right. So there's two parts of you. Ego. I don't need to do anything. I'll just, typical guy. Oh, here's a new toy for my grandchild or my son. I don't need the directions. Well, half an hour later, you take out the directions because you realize I should have read the directions, right? So that's the natural thing that we men are famous for. Not all of us, but many of us. But you knew there was something wrong and you had to look at the directions. And where I'm going to is listen inside with you, not your doubt, because doubt is past, right? Living in the fear of the past. The present is that I'm going to build the shed. And do I really need somebody to assist me? Right? And you think about that. If you say yes, then you ask, who are the experts that I need to talk to? Well, today we go to YouTube, or maybe a contractor or whatever. but it's most important that you need to have I can do attitude, whether you're starting a new business, whether you're making breakfast or lunch, whether you're just having a conversation, realizing that everybody's an expert. Everybody is. And so for me, many times I want to help people because that's what I am in service. Therefore, I try to remember to say, would you like a suggestion? And if they say no, I go, okay. And not just let it go. But that part of the ego in most people, they know everything. And therefore they have to show off everything. So the power within you and in your life is that every time you're doing something, it's a new learning experience. Just like a computer, you add software and you're learning new things. Look at it this way. If you listen to that true, what I call source and soul inner guidance, you'll know something isn't right. But you don't know what it is, but you know something's amiss. And the next question you say to yourself, well, how do I find out what's right? And then once you do, you should begin to work on finding out where the best information is. Then you apply it and then you innovate and you change it. Because if every building was built the same way, we'd have no architectural design. So you use that creativity part of us. Mr. Buffett, who is a multi-billionaire, he failed for the first 15 or 20 years, I believe it was. He failed. And he finally got it right. So Warren Buffett took all his failures and said, no, they weren't failures. I learned what works, it didn't work. And that famous quote from Henry Ford, whether you think you can do a thing, whether you think you can't do a thing, you're right. Think about that. Well, who's putting the roadblock up? You are. He failed quite a bit, but he finally succeeded. And then I was reading about John D. Rockefeller. He was an accountant, I believe. Then he tried to start one business, could have been the oil business, I don't know. Whatever he was trying to do, and he failed. And he finally got it right and bought oil wells. And then I think Smith, I forget his first name, he wrote a paper on delivering packages. And he was working on his master's, and the professor said, no, it's full of baloney, it didn't work, couldn't work. So what he did was he decided, I'm going to make it work. And so he delivered packages on airplanes. He was running short on money. He barely had enough money for fuel. He tries to raise some money, they couldn't. And I read where he had $750. And he went to Las Vegas and he gambled. I don't know how much he won, a couple of thousand. I don't know the number, don't quote me, which was enough money to buy fuel for the planes. And then as he delivered, he got some investors. Now he's one of the largest delivery services in the world, Federal Express. See, he didn't accept failure. He learned what worked and didn't work. And that's my suggestion to you. Watch your thoughts. Your thoughts direct you and lead you to success, or they direct you and lead yourself to blocks. Which direction are you going into? Think about that, because you have created your life from the day you're born to this very second that you're watching this by your thoughts. So let's make a shift. Let's think positive. Positive can mean, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to learn how to do it. Somebody's going to help me. Something's going to happen. I know it. And keep thinking that way. And program your life every morning for success and joy. And part of that success and joy is to have to be in service to others. Because what comes around goes around. And if you help bring joy and happiness and you're in service to others, by universal law, which is immutable, it has to come back to you. So I thank all of you. This is all food for thought. And I know we have much to talk about. To you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Michael. You quoted my mother.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored.
You did. That's the same thing she used to say to me all the time. She was very, very wise, and it took me until my, at this point in my life for me to realize how blessed I really am to have my mom's words still coming through, and you validated everything perfectly
Thank you.
from my mom. It was weird. Okay.
I feel honored.
Okay, so let's get back to business here because we only have a little bit of time left, and we want to be mindful of everybody else's time as well. So why don't you tell everybody what you do Tuesday night and the second Saturday of every month?
All right. Every Tuesday night from 6:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. It's called Soul Awakening, where you have the opportunity to ask any questions on spirituality, and hopefully I can answer them. And then I deliver a 10-minute little message, motivational message. It's audible, and which will give you information how you can listen to that in the future. But I encourage you, all of you, to do that. And those who come on to this beautiful Soul Awakening session, new ones coming in, are entitled to a 20-minute or longer complimentary conversation. And I believe you'll find it very enlightening. And when you bring a lot of new people in, you get a complimentary copy of my book. So in order to be able to contact us, how do you do that? And you're going to tell them.
Absolutely. All the contact information is in the comments on Facebook. And I will also, Michael, shall we give your email so that they can reach out to you through your email?
Yes.
Okay.
So my email is Dr. Michael Gross. I'm going to call it number 7 at gmail.com. That's Dr. Michael Gross, numerical 7 at gmail.com.
Perfect.
And the telephone number is?
The phone number for Tuesday night is...
Excuse me for interrupting. It's not done on Zoom yet. It's done on freeconferencecall.com. So I just wanted to tell everybody, but we may change this in June. So thank you. Go ahead, Tio. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Okay, right now you can dial in on Tuesday nights at 6:30 to 202-926-1059, and the access code, Michael?
125446 pound.
I'll give that number again. It's 202-926-1059, and the access code?
125446 pound. And what I call is the replay for those wonderful, beautiful messages, which goes from number 3 to 175 or 80. You'll know all you need to do is dial this number, and whatever number feels right, just punch in the number, say the number, and it'll be just what you want to hear. You'll be amazed. And that number is?
Okay, that number is 434-300-4170, and access code?
125446 pound.
Okay, one more time. That's 434-300-4170, and the access code?
125446 pound. Now, the second Saturday of every month, I call it the Mass Consciousness Healing, in which it starts at 9:55 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time to 11:01 Pacific Daylight Time. And what I do is a quick little introduction. We chat for a few moments, and within 3 to 4 minutes, approximately later, we go into a deep meditation. And a few minutes before 11:01, I'll come back on, say a few things, and we're done. And I cannot stress how important this mass consciousness healing is, of sending love to Mother Earth, to all the inhabitants, to all the nature spirits. It is so important. And if you don't think so, look at what's going on in the world today. To access that is the same number as a soul awakening, and that number is, we just need to give it once, is
202-926-1059, and the code?
125446 pound. So I thank all of you, and I can't help but encourage all of you to join us. Go ahead, Tio.
One more thing. all these Thursday night Zooms that we do, Thursday night Facebook Lives that we do, and all the recorded messages that Michael is referring to is also on Michael's YouTube channel, and that's Dr. Michael B. Gross. Okay, so make sure you subscribe so that you can get all the information right at your fingertips, because it's well worth your time. And one more time, take advantage, if you can, of reaching out to Michael, because his time is precious and so very, very valuable to all of us, because the messages that he brings you, not only on the recording messages and on his YouTube, but he offers you guys a 20-minute complimentary consultation. You get to talk to the man yourself. So make sure, I did that, and I am so thrilled that I did, because he's totally changed my life. And I just have one more thing, Michael. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Ta-da!
He is the author.
I'm sorry.
Wait, Michael, my turn first.
Okay.
Okay. Michael is the author of The Spiritual Primer. This is his second edition with some awesome golden nuggets in here. And if you look at the name who wrote the foreword in that book over there, it's Dr. Michael Gross. And I want to say my standard thing, if it wasn't for this book and this amazing man next to me, the book he's holding would not have happened. I wouldn't have written it. So thank you, Michael, from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome. And this book is the story of a woman who rose from the ashes like the phoenix, the mythological bird. It's a wonderful story. It's very empowering, and it will stir your heart and give you a lot of hope. The reason we keep talking about this in each session, we're not in the business, figuratively speaking, to sell books. That's not what we're in the business for. We're not in the business. We're in service to you, to help empower you, to change your life so you can heal. This helps you heal, and also helps you to manifest your spiritual missions and goals, as well as your life. This is what the books are all about. And we present this each and every week to remind you that you have the opportunity to change. Now, right now, for my book, Amazon is out of it, but you can contact me at drmichaelgross7@gmail. I will be sending more books to Amazon right now. And by the way, one of my books they're selling for $298. Whoa, that's incredible.
Michael, and that's not even an autographed copy.
No.
If you go directly through Michael, he actually signs it for you. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that in there.
Thank you. And it's $31.95, including shipping and handling. To all of you, I want to thank you.
Mine is autographed.
Thank you very much for joining us. Please pass this on, and please subscribe to YouTube, Dr. Michael B. Gross. Everyone have a wonderful week. Just remember, you are unlimited. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. We love you.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank you.